Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're going to be looking at the Hasbro Masterpiece Soundwave figure. This is not the Japanese version, but as far as the figure itself goes, the only difference is the eyes. This one has the yellow eyes like the original G1 figure. Unfortunately, that does not match the cartoon, but that's because the figures came first and the cartoon didn't match the figure, technically speaking. Either way, I'm okay with it because it's cheaper and it comes with more stuff, and I personally like the yellow eyes anyway. This guy is really awesome. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to say I recommend it 100%. He's just as good as the MP10 Optimus that came out last year. Definitely a nice addition to the collection. Let's look at what he comes with. So we have a bunch of different things he comes with. One being the Megatron gun, and I think it's the same as the original one that we got with the Optimus, the big Optimus, except the barrel, it does not come apart as far as I know. But you can still take that off, and it's pretty nicely done. Little Decepticon insignia right there, so that's cool. He has a blaster, his blaster, which you can snap onto his back, which mimics his shoulder mounted cannon, which is also necessary for the transformation. But the blaster itself, you can just fold down right here, the handle, if you can get it. A lot of these parts that you have to like pry apart are really tight on these guys, but it should come out. I'm sorry, now it should come out, or you can pull it out from up here and pull out the front of it, and there you go. There's his blaster. You can see there's a little tab on the handle on either side, and that just goes into his hands. You can see the slot for it right there, so he can hold that in there. Okay, I'm not going to put it in because I don't want it there, but you get the idea. Alright, so he has two guns there. He also has 5 little guys, the 5 cassette guys. They all come in an actual cassette case. The American version has the clear plastic. I'm pretty sure the Japanese version has like a slightly tinted pink plastic, but I prefer the clear, so I'm happy about that. This looks like an old school cassette case, so I'm happy. Has the Transformers lettering right there. Pretty cool. We get 5 of those, 1 for each guy. We also get an Energon cube. This is not tinted. I believe the Japanese version is tinted pink. I'm not positive. The Japanese version has little paper things you can put in here to make it look like it has color and stuff. We do not get that. And this can peg into his chest, I believe. I haven't even done it yet, but it goes in there just like on the TV show. So that's kind of cool, I guess. I thought it was always kind of goofy that he did that, but whatever, it can do that. And you can also peg in this piece, which goes on his chest. The Japanese version, I believe, has an insert that has like battle plans that you can put in here and then peg that on. We don't get that. This just pegs on and gives you the grid, but that's still kind of cool. So we'll just set that aside. And if you're wondering if this can work on this, it can. I don't know if you want to do that or not, but you can. Okay, so we have the guns covered and all that kind of stuff. Now let's look at the little guys. I don't have them in their cassette form right now because that would be their alt mode. But here we have Ravage. Look at that. That's pretty darn good for being a little tiny cassette. It's pretty amazing, I think. And he is pretty articulated. His shoulders move, and his elbows and his ankles, or whatever, wrist, whatever you want to call that. The head can go up and down. The back legs have a hip, and then like a double knee, and the ankle, and the tail can go up and down. So for being a little tiny cassette panther, it's pretty cool. The eyes are painted. Nice detailing. The Decepticon logo. Hopefully you can see that. Pretty cool. And then we also have Frenzy and Rumble, and they're the exact same mold. One thing I want to point out, this comes with Soundwave. I don't know what it is, and the instructions don't talk about any of the accessories, so I'm not sure what it's for. I know it can peg onto this right here. I don't know why, but it can. And this is the set of the little ground pounding things that for Frenzy and Rumble. You can just put that on their arms and they extend like this. Okay, so how you do that, is you just fold the hands in, and you can either leave the arms down like this, not like that, like this. Oh, forget it, just do it the right way. Put them in like that and they snap in. So they have those. This is what I meant to show you, is you can put them in upside down if you don't want the ball peg showing, but they don't snap onto the arms that way. Okay, so you have those. You just fold the hands back out, which is a pain in the butt because, like I said, everything that you have to do that to is really tight on these guys. So there you go, that's the mold for Frenzy and Rumble, which is pretty darn good, I think, as far as being a little cassette tape. The head swivels. It's really good paint work and sculpt work on that, by the way. Ball joint shoulder, elbow hinge. No waist twist, of course, but pretty good articulation for the hips, at least a little bit. That's cool. You have a knee joint and a ball peg for the ankle, so that's pretty nice. Good paint detailing. He looks the exact same, just different colors, so that's pretty cool. They also have these little blasters, which you can put in their hands if you fold that back, or is it this way? I'm sorry. Put in the hands if you fold it down, so they can actually hold it like a gun, or you can fold that back and you can put it in their back. And of course they get one for each side, so you can put them like that. I dropped it though. So for being a little accessory figure, these guys are pretty involved and they're pretty well engineered, so pretty happy about that. Why can't I peg it in? So there, you can peg those in. Of course you can straighten them out. That's pretty cool. You can put them any way you want to. It's just a standard peg. And when you're not using them, they can be stored inside these things. So you just open it up and slide them down. I did the wrong one, I think. Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. So you just slide them down in there, and they are stored inside these things, which are stored on this thing, which I don't really know what that's for either. So they can be stored on here, and like you saw in the beginning, this can peg into here, but I don't know if that's from the cartoon or not, but it does connect onto them that way. So well, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. The instructions don't cover it. So that's Frenzy and Rumble, and then we also have Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. And they're the exact same again. One's red, that's Laserbeak. One's yellow, that's the other one. Nice little paintwork for the Decepticon logo. For my Buzzsaw, the little flaps up here won't move. This one will, but that one won't. I don't know what's up with that, but still, they're pretty cool. And an extra nice detail about these guys is you can take those grooves in the feet and peg them onto his shoulder so that it's like they're perched on his shoulder. So that's nice. And then you also have an extra place to peg them on his forearm. That little clear one, that's meant for this, which I think is pretty awesome. Pretty far out. Can't go wrong with that. Adds to the displayability and the playability. And anytime you get nice accessories like that, it's a bonus. So this guy, as far as articulation goes, it's really just the head, the neck, and the feet. The wings don't really flap unless you want them to go down. So really not much to do with those guys, but still a nice touch. We'll look at the cassette modes later. Actually, I'll transform one now, and then I'll show you how you can use the cassettes in his chest. I transformed Rumble back into his cassette just to show you what kind of options we have, and just real quick I'll show you how he fits inside his case. So that's pretty nice. I'm told these are the exact same size as the original G1 cassettes. I don't have any of those, so I can't show you or prove it or confirm it or deny it, but I'm told it, so I believe it. And then as far as the chest goes, this is a pretty cool feature. It opens up just like a regular cassette deck. You can put that in and close it, and that's pretty awesome. But if you want to fit more than one in there, you can. They do get stuck sometimes. You have to make sure they're transformed completely smoothly, and then sometimes they won't get stuck, but they do tend to do that though. It's a pretty tight fit. Come on. Alright, so I got them unstuck, and the reason they get stuck is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Is when you have this closed, this bottom thing, it's at right angle. You have the front and then it goes back inside. When you open it, this bottom piece here flips forward, and that's supposed to kick the cassette forward so you can grab it and use it. And the reason they get stuck is sometimes they sit too far back and it wedges them into the top part, and that's a little bit of an irritation, but it's not horrible. Anyway, what I was going to say before I had him stick on me was you can push that inside piece all the way back and fit multiple cassettes in there. And so what you can do, let me try this again and hopefully it doesn't get stuck. Make sure it's nice and tight. Put him in. So they're all the way in there. Let's say I have more than one, but I don't. So it's in there. And what you want to do then is press this little lever back here, pull that down, and it'll push the cassette forward. And then when you press this, it'll kick the cassette forward into this thing and you can pull it out. But of course mine is stuck again, so I'll take that out. And we'll just pretend that didn't happen. It's unstuck now. I don't know why it keeps sticking. I tried retransforming it and doing some things, but it doesn't work. So sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. I just happen to have bad luck on this one, so be aware of that. It's really the only serious problem. The only other minor problem is that the index finger, this hinge right here, does not have a pin in it, so it does pop off sometimes. But otherwise, you won't have any problems with this guy. Let's talk about the actual figure. The articulation is pretty darn good. Come on, Megatron. Always causing problems. The articulation is pretty good for this guy. It's right up there with the best of the Transformers figures I've ever seen. The head is on a hinge for the neck, and then the neck itself rotates. So that's pretty cool. The head sculpt's really good. No impedance there. The head can move any way you want it to, no problems. Shoulders have a swivel there. There's a hinge there. There's also a hinge at the lower part of the shoulder, so you have two hinges. That's pretty nice. There's a bicep swivel up at the top. Then you have a double jointed elbow, which allows him to press his own button. That's pretty cool. You can rotate the wrist. So there's also a wrist rotation, and as you saw, the index finger has a big knuckle and a little knuckle. And then the rest of the fingers just have a single hinge right there, so you can give him a pointing finger or just a press my button finger, which is cool. So that's pretty nice articulation for a Transformer, especially a big blocky one like Soundwave. He does also have a waist twist, which is very nice. His hips work very well also. They can come out to the side. They're a little stiff, so be careful, but they can go all the way out to the side. And then this piece right here is what allows them to go forward. That's ratcheted. So the hip itself doesn't really do it, it's just underneath the hip, but it does work, so that's fine by me. There's a swivel at the top and at the bottom of that joint, and then there's also a swivel right above the knee, which also has pretty good articulation. Full 90 degrees in the knee there, that's ratcheted. Then the ankle has a rocker, which is really just part of the transformation, but it gives you the ability to do whatever you want side to side. Forward and back, not so much. It's pretty limited. You can bring it down a little bit, but you definitely cannot bring the toe up. So it's a little bit irritating when you're trying to get a good pose, but you shouldn't have too much trouble. So he's pretty well articulated. The paints on this guy are top notch. Great detailing throughout. Really no complaints on this at all. And it is exactly the same as the Takara version, other than the eyes. And like I said, for me, the yellow eyes are just fine. Some people like the red. I'm okay with yellow, so that's why I'm okay with this version. I do recommend it. That's it for the robot mode and the accessories. Alright guys, so I have him transformed into his Boombox mode, which is pretty much just a giant block. There's a little bit of a gap on the back. You can rotate these different ways. These are the arms. You can just put them in different ways. I like them this way. I don't know, maybe that's the right way. I didn't even use the instructions, but I think it looks better this way. There's still kind of a big gap down here, and you can use this piece that I don't know what it's for. You can just peg that into this, and it fills the gap just a little bit. It's kind of an optical illusion just because it's silver and it's out a little bit, but it's still a pretty good size gap, so it's not ideal. You can also plug it in over here, and I guess it's supposed to be like the power cord or something. I don't know. I don't remember that in the show. To be honest, I didn't watch the show a whole lot, but it does plug in there, so maybe that's all that's for. I don't know. If anybody can expound upon that for me, please do in the comment section. But I'll just put it right there for now. And then of course the cassette deck itself still works. You can still fit multiple tapes in there. Not even going to try it because I know it's going to get stuck, so I'll just stick it in the front and put it right there. And that's pretty cool. These two buttons are actually buttons. They don't do anything, but they are actual buttons. The record and battery thing, the indicator light, it is an actual like clear piece of plastic. It doesn't light up, but it looks like it could, so that's cool. You have a volume dial right here which actually spins, so that's a nice little touch. And over here a power button, I'm assuming, which actually slides up and down. These are all just painted on, but still it looks pretty cool and I'm happy with it. It's pretty cool. Of course, if you're like me, you'll keep all your Transformers in the robot mode or alt mode. I don't know which is alt mode. I guess this is alt mode, and so robot mode is the other one. Okay, so I would keep them in robot mode. But this is still pretty cool. It's really well put together. It's definitely not an easy transformation for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. There's a lot of tight-fitting pieces, a lot of small panels that need to be moved around. But once it's done, it's a nice solid piece. No kibble really, just that hole in the back and on the bottom. So it's pretty darn good. I'm happy with it. I do recommend this figure for both of its modes, robot and alt, but of course the robot mode is ideal and preferable, so I would suggest that. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff, and in the meantime, keep collecting.